I leaped from the stagecoach just as the first shot cracked through the air, splintering the saloon door across the street. My heart slammed against my ribs like a wild mustang, and I ducked low, clutching my threadbare carpet bag as bullets whizzed overhead. Dusty Creek erupted into chaos, men shouting, horses rearing, the acrid tang of gunpowder choking the dry wind. I'd come all this way from Nebraska's empty prairies, fleeing the ghosts of my husband's mining accident that left me buried in grief and debt, only to land in a hail of lead. But I wasn't about to let some botched hold-up steal my last chance. The sun hammered down mercilessly, baking the warped boardwalks and casting long, sinister shadows over the bustling street. Cowboys wrestled steers through the dust. Vendors bellowed prices for tinware and calico, and the blacksmith's anvil pounded like a war drum. I straightened up, brushing dirt from my mourning veil, my 2 simple gowns inside the bag feeling like armor against the piercing stares that followed me. A lone widow like me, in this god-forsaken town. I knew what they saw, easy prey, a woman without a man to shield her from the wolves in spurs or the vipers in petticoats. "Look at that Hayes woman," sneered a sharp-tongued matron. Mrs. Henrietta Blackwell, to her wide-eyed companion outside the dress shop. No family to claim her, no prospects but trouble strutting in alone like she owns the place. Her words stung, but I lifted my chin, pride burning hotter than the midday blaze. I'd survived worse than gossip. Hunger had taught me that dignity was my sharpest weapon. Pushing through the swinging doors of Murphy's Emporium, I inhaled the heavy mix of grain, hides, and lamp oil. Shoppers froze over sacks of flour and yards of muslin, their curiosity slicing into me like knives. Behind the counter, Mr. Murphy, a wiry man with spectacles perched on his nose, looked up from his ledger. "I'm here for the cook position at Harland Ranch," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. Laughter erupted from the back 5 roughnecks lounged against nail kegs, their spurs scraping the floorboards. The biggest, scar-faced Zeke, with a jagged scar twisting his sneer, sauntered over, his breath reeking of cheap rot gut. "Well, ain't you a pretty thing? Fixing to warm Jack Harland's bed more than his belly, I reckon." My cheeks flamed, a mix of rage and humiliation twisting in my gut. I'd come for honest work, not this filth. "I'm seeking upright employment, sir. Nothing more upright." He loomed closer, his shadow swallowing me. "Out there with 30 hard men and notin' but beans. You'll be serving something sweeter soon enough." A voice like thunder cut through. "Back off, Zeke." Every head whipped toward the door. There stood Jack Harland, tall and rugged, his piercing green eyes storming over the scene. Broad-shouldered, with a jaw carved from granite and a hand hovering near his peacemaker. He commanded the room without a word. My breath caught there was something in those eyes, a depth of sorrow mixed with unyielding strength that tugged at my widowed heart. He advanced, the air crackling with his presence. "You boys buying or just begging for a brawl?" The tension hung thick. Zeke spat on the floor and growled, "Let's go," dragging his cronies out into the street. Harland tipped his Stetson, his voice softening. "Sorry for the trouble, ma'am. Dusty Creek ain't kind to newcomers." I met his gaze, a spark igniting despite myself. "I can handle rough edges, Mr. Harland, thank you." He studied me, those green eyes probing deeper than I expected, stirring a warmth I hadn't felt since losing my husband. Then he asked about the job. I extended my hand, etiquette be damned in this wild land. His clasp was calloused, firm yet gentle, sending an unexpected shiver through me. I told him of my 5 years running a Wyoming eatery, turning scraps into soul-filling meals for weary trail hands. He outlined the ranch, 25 miles east, Spartan living, me as the only woman. $40 a month, a private room off the galley, board included. It sounded like heaven after my barren life. Ready in 40 minutes, he asked, his tone testing. With just $3.20 in my reticule and the town's slander nipping at my heels. I nodded. As we jolted away on his buckboard, Henrietta's warning echoed, nothing good from this. But as the settlement faded, and Harland's strong profile caught the fading light, I wondered if fate had more in store than survival a chance to heal. Perhaps even to love again in this unforgiving West. The Harland Ranch rose like a defiant outpost in the wide hollow. Main lodge and barracks framed by crimson sierras. Harland called out, "This is Mrs. Hayes, our new cook. Treat her like your own mother, or answer to me." Grizzled foreman old Hank Riley stepped up, his eyes twinkling under bushy brows. "Ma'am, we're starving for real food bin, eaten boot leather since the last one quit." His warm grin eased my nerves. But as I glanced at Harlan, that pull in my chest grew stronger, hinting at storm's end, passions yet to come.